Hey everyone, 99% of you watching aren't subscribed. Let's change that. Hit that subscribe button, and at 1,000 subscribers, we'll drop special stories just for you.
The galactic research nexus hovered like a silver crucifix over Talor V, the frozen moon with no breathable atmosphere and no reason for life, except for secrets. The station was an elite-tier, off-world facility, funded by a coalition of corporate, military, and scientific interests too powerful to name. Its purpose? Officially, deep space xenobiology. Unofficially, bioweapons research cloaked in academic pretense. At the heart of the nexus, buried beneath layers of security and redacted logs, lay Containment Vault 7A, a space no wider than a gymnasium, but armored like a warship, with walls of neutronium plating and a mesh of graviton suppressors. Inside that vault was a Leviathan. No one called it by its scientific name anymore. Subject K-7. Not since it opened its eyes for the first time, and the air turned cold. It had been resurrected from a fossilized genome of a species extinct for millennia, once native to the war-torn planet Caraxes, a world erased by solar collapse. Geneticists hadn't merely cloned a creature. They'd reconstructed an entire ancient predator, combining neural scans extracted from preserved cerebral tissue with synthetic DNA chains stabilized by nanite weavers. The result was alive and watching. Mia Tran was the youngest person ever allowed into the Nexus's inner research ring. She wasn't a military biologist or a government spook. She was a third-year xenobiology prodigy from the Earth-based Yale-Tianjin Arcology University, with a scholarship born of stubbornness, grit, and a brain wired for patterns. Where others saw data points, she saw stories, instincts, reactions, learning curves. That's why they brought her in. Unofficially, her role was to observe. In truth, she was a variable, someone new, someone unpredictable, someone young enough, small enough, human enough, that maybe the beast wouldn't see her as a threat. I wouldn't get too close to the glass, warned Dr. Rennick, her supervisor, as they entered the observation booth. It studies people like a chess player studies pieces. I thought it was just a predator, Mia said, peering through the thick lens of the vault. Predators don't play chess. Rennick grunted. This one does. There it was, coiled in the corner, silent as bone, 10 feet tall when upright, quadrupedal but capable of bipedal posture, its back covered in black ceramite-like scales. The ridges along its spine glowed faintly, pulsing blue-green with what Mia guessed was bioelectric energy. Its tail, prehensile and edged like a blade, flicked idly in the dust. Then it looked at her, not at Rennick, not at the guards. Her, 2 slit-pupil eyes, the color of molten silver, locked onto Mia with surgical precision. It didn't move, didn't growl, just watched. Mia felt something ancient stir inside her. Not fear, recognition. The moment passed. Over the next 3 weeks, Mia spent every day cataloging the Leviathan's behavior. She noticed things the others didn't. It slept only in 53-minute cycles. It tapped its claws in sequences that mirrored prime number sets. It responded to light frequencies in the red and violet ranges, but reacted visibly to human speech. And always it watched her. She tried to tell the team. Her voice was drowned out by egos and white coats. Don't anthropomorphize it, Rennick told her. It's a lizard with a brain tumor that we call intelligence. But Mia knew better. It wasn't random. It wasn't curiosity. The Leviathan recognized her. As what? She didn't know. But it paid attention. When she spoke, it tilted its head. When she was absent, it paced. She began speaking directly to it during observation hours. "Hey," she said once, placing a hand on the glass. "I know you're not just muscle and teeth. I see you. You see me too, right?" It rose, slowly, and walked to glass. It sat. Its claws tapped once, twice, thrice. She tapped back. Then came the breach. It started with a systems glitch. At least that's what the first alert said. A blinking red triangle on Mia's tablet. Minor power fluctuation in Vault 7A? Routine. Then came the second alert. Security loss detected. By the time the klaxon screamed, it was already too late. Containment collapsed. Grav suppressors failed. The vault door crumpled like aluminum foil. Chaos flooded the Nexus. Mia was sprinting through the hall when the shock wave from an explosion knocked her off her feet. Her head cracked against the bulkhead. Blood matted her hair. Consciousness flickered. She blinked through blurred vision as shadows danced across the walls. The Leviathan emerged from the smoke, limping slightly, burn marks streaking its flanks. Alarms blared. Sirens howled. Drones hovered in kill formation behind it. It looked down at Mia. She expected claws. A roar. Oblivion. Instead, it did something impossible. It bent low and sniffed her. Then it nudged her head with the side of its jaw, gentle, animalistic, almost parental. Guards arrived, rifles raised, and the Leviathan turned, not to flee, not to kill, but to protect. It placed itself between Mia and the guns. Its spine flared. Its bioluminescence intensified. It roared, not a battle cry, but a warning. One step closer and she dies, it said without words. One more shot, and I end all of you. The guards froze. Mia's vision faded to black, and when she woke, she was in the Leviathan's arms. Pain arrived first, a throb behind her left eye, then a hot bloom at the base of her skull. The world came in fragments, sirens in the distance, the hiss of leaking steam and the stench of scorched metal. Mia opened her eyes. Above her, twisted ducts dripped condensation. Shattered wall panels sparked overhead. Her arms felt leaden. Her tablet was gone. Blood matted her hair. Then came the rumble. Low, guttural, like a mountain breathing. She twisted her head and froze. The Leviathan was inches away. Its glowing eyes regarded her from where it crouched just across the chamber. It could have killed her in seconds. Instead, it had brought her here, somewhere, a side chamber, a storage sublevel. She didn't know. Its forelimb was burned, and across its ribs, plasma scoring had blackened the scales. It was injured, but calm. Watching her again, Mia's breathing was ragged, her chest tight with panic. But a deeper instinct fought back. Don't run. Don't scream. Stay small. Stay alive. She whispered, "You save me?" The Leviathan blinked slowly. It tilted its head. An eerie echo of the movement she'd seen days before in the observation vault. A chunk of steel crashed down behind them. The Leviathan turned instantly, muscles tensing, then relaxed when it registered the sound as harmless. It resumed its vigil over Mia, its claws clacking lightly against the floor. For the first time, she saw it not as a subject or threat, but as a creature making decisions. It had made a choice, and now it was guarding her. The chamber was dimly lit by a flickering emergency panel. Mia sat up slowly, and the Leviathan didn't react. She groaned and checked her limbs. Bruised, bloody, but not broken. Somehow, it had carried her here. The thought should have terrified her. Instead, it filled her with quiet awe. "You carried me," she said aloud. Her voice cracked, dry from fear and dust. "Why?" The Leviathan watched. Then, with slow purpose, it turned its massive head toward a shattered bulkhead. It stalked over, tail dragging, and ripped free the twisted door. Behind it were crates, half buried in rubble. Emergency supplies. It sniffed at one, then turned back toward her. Was it? Mia stood on shaky legs and stumbled forward. She opened one crate and found what Leviathan had apparently wanted her to find: rations, medical packs, water pouches. It had led her to them. "You're helping me." Another blink, another silence that said more than words. Hours passed. In the absence of threats, the Leviathan sat motionless, like a stone carving from some alien temple. But every time Mia moved too far, its head followed. It was watching her perimeter, her blind spots. Guarding. She patched the wound on her head and forced herself to eat. The Leviathan made no move toward her food or supplies. She realized it wasn't acting like a predator at all. It was acting like a guardian, but that didn't make sense. It was a resurrected apex predator, designed to hunt, kill, survive. How could it possibly? Her thoughts paused as something clicked in her memory. Life-bind theory. It had come up in one of the restricted logs she'd read from the old Caraxes archives, fragments translated from dead languages. Something about predator bonding instincts during neural infancy. Some species encoded protective behavior toward imprinted companions. She'd laughed it off. Now she wasn't so sure. She remembered the first day it opened its eyes. She had been the only one speaking, her voice echoing softly in the sterile chamber. Had it heard her? Chosen her? Imprinted on her? Was she the first thing it recognized when it awoke? Mia's heart pounded as she stared across the chamber at the wounded creature. It wasn't just sparing her. It had claimed her. The airlock hissed, a sound that neither Mia nor the Leviathan liked. The beast was on its feet before she even registered the noise, body low, tail coiled, muscles tensed. Mia backed against the wall as red tracking lasers danced across the ceiling. Drones. Security drones. The AI had found them. The first shot hit the floor near the Leviathan's foot. It roared, flinging itself into the air in a blur of rage and instinct. In two fluid motions, it crushed one drone with its tail and grabbed another mid-flight, hurling it into the far wall. Mia covered her ears as the metal husk exploded. Then another sound. Footsteps. Voices. Human. Sector 14 breached. Visual on the target. Someone shouted through a comm. The Leviathan was already moving toward her. Mia flinched, expecting the worst. Instead, the beast crouched low and shielded her with its body. Gunfire erupted from a hallway. The Leviathan grunted in pain, but didn't budge. It was a living wall between her and the soldiers. It could have escaped, but it didn't run. It stayed. To protect her. She screamed, "Stop! Don't shoot! It's not hurting me." The guards didn't listen, so the Leviathan attacked. The next 60 seconds were carnage and chaos. The Leviathan moved like a force of nature. It didn't kill out of fury. It neutralized. Crushed armor, disarmed rifles, disappeared into shadow, and reappeared behind soldiers like a ghost of fang and claw. It took plasma burns. It bled. But Mia lived. By the end, the hallway was a wreck of unconscious bodies and smoke. The Leviathan stood panting, one shoulder hanging low, scales charred but eyes still glowing, still focused on her. Mia stumbled forward. She shouldn't have. It was still dangerous, wild, unpredictable. But she did. She reached out with a trembling hand and touched its wounded limb. Its muscles twitched, but it didn't flinch. She pressed a med patch against the burn. "You're not a monster," she whispered. "You're just alone." It made a low sound, not a growl, something softer, like a breath from an ancient world. She looked into its eyes. "You're not the only one." Decks once pristine and sterile were now smoke-choked and flickering with emergency strobes. Automated systems glitched in loops, echoing garbled announcements over broken intercoms. The halls were silent where they should have been bustling. Cameras followed nothing. Drones buzzed in search patterns that never completed. In the eye of that storm, two fugitives moved through shadow. Mia Tran, bruised, exhausted, and running on adrenaline, followed the Leviathan through maintenance shafts and abandoned labs. Its wounds were worse now, one leg dragging slightly, blood darkening its scales. It didn't complain. It didn't slow. It was leading her somewhere. She didn't know where, only that she trusted it more than the humans hunting them both. They emerged in a forgotten level, Deck 32, a research submarine that had been decommissioned years ago. The lights here were dim amber, powered by backup generators. Dust coated the consoles. Digital terminals blinked in sleep mode. The Leviathan paused in the corridor. It seemed unsure. Mia touched its shoulder gently. "This where you want to go?" A low rumble answered. They stepped inside. The chamber was cold, circular, once a data archive command node. Now it resembled a crypt. Broken stasis pods lined the walls, some with shattered glass, others completely dark. At the center sat a massive databank, still active, flickering with pulses of light. Mia approached it. This is old, pre-catastrophe code. She tapped into the console with trembling fingers. Her security clearance wouldn't get her far, but she had other tools. A student in a lab might be underpowered, but Mia had an illegal AI decryption assistant buried in her neural link, gifted from a grad student who owed her favors. She bypassed the encryption in seconds, and what she found stole her breath. Project Leviathan neural impression files. They weren't just logs. These were thought prints, snapshots of pre-sentient brain activity from the original creature scanned from Caraxes fossils. Data too fragmented for most to decode. The mainline scientists had ignored them. Too unstable. Too theoretical. But someone had experimented anyway. A trail of hidden experiments confirmed what Mia feared. The Leviathan had been imprinted with salvaged memories. More than cloned, it was reborn, a living echo of its species, fused with fragments of instinct and culture long extinct. She dug deeper. A hidden folder opened with a hiss of cooling air. A video log played. An older man appeared on screen, thin, eyes sunken from guilt and sleepless nights. Dr. Alvin Corey, former head of a neural simulation team. If you're watching this, then the creature survived. We tried to erase the imprinting. Failed. The neural fragments weren't just biological. They were behavioral, cultural, even emotional. The Caraxes Leviathans weren't just predators. They were social guardians. Each generation bonded with a youngling, sometimes of their own kind, sometimes not. We thought we could suppress that instinct. But the moment it saw the girl, we knew. Mia staggered back from the screen. It had bonded with her the moment it was born, because she had spoken, because she had looked it in the eye, because it had been alone, and she had been there. It didn't want to kill her. It wanted to protect her. Behind her, the Leviathan was pacing, clearly agitated. The glow along its back flared slightly. Something had changed. A warning. Mia turned and heard it too. Bootsteps. Distant. Heavy. Too coordinated for drones. She pulled up the station map. On the cracked console, a single red dot blinked nearby. Commander Arlen Voss, stationed with Strike Team in the next ring. Her blood turned to ice. Voss wasn't a scientist. He was private military, contracted by the same people funding the black budget underside of the Leviathan project. If Voss was here, it meant containment had failed too far. And now, they were going to clean house. Even if that meant killing the creature. Even if that meant killing her. The countdown on the corner of the screen confirmed it. Nexus Station failsafe initiated. Self-destruct sequence engaged. T-minus 5 hours, 32 minutes. Mia backed away from the console. Her mind raced. Okay, she whispered. They're going to destroy the station. Take the data, maybe the genetic core. But everything else? Ashes. The Leviathan looked at her, eyes narrowed. It growled, not a threat, but impatience. It wanted to move. Yeah, she said. Me too. They ran. Through dark halls and cracked bulkheads. They made their way towards Central Command. Mia's plan was insane, and she knew it. Override the self-destruct manually, broadcast a distress beacon to the outer patrols, and expose everything. If she could dump the logs, the neural scans, the video evidence, the Galactic Council would have to investigate. But Voss was already ahead of her. As they entered a junction hall, a pressure mine detonated. The Leviathan shoved her aside mid-blast, taking the brunt of the concussive force. It was flung backward, crashing into a wall. Smoke filled the air. Mia screamed. She crawled toward it, coughing, eyes burning. It was still alive, but barely. Blood leaked from its mouth. One of its rear legs twitched uselessly. Its ribs were exposed, glowing faintly from ruptured tissue. No, 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 no. Stay with me, she begged, tearing open another med pack. You can't give up. You saved me. Now it's my turn. Footsteps echoed in the smoke. Commander Voss emerged, rifle raised. His armor bore no insignia. His face was emotionless. You were a promising student, he said. But curiosity's a fatal trait up here. He raised a rifle. Mia stepped in front of the Leviathan, trembling. Shoot me, she said. You want the creature. You'll have it go through me. Voss hesitated, but only for a second. Then the Leviathan rose, roared, and lunged. Not at Voss. At the ceiling above him. Metal groaned. The impact shattered the supports, and the bulkhead collapsed. Voss disappeared beneath a rain of steel and flame. Silence returned. Mia stumbled toward the creature as it collapsed once more. Its chest heaved. Its eyes fluttered. She knelt beside it, crying freely now. "You're not going to die here," she said. "I won't let you." The lights flickered above them. The countdown continued. For hours. 43 minutes. Mia looked toward the core corridor. One way out. One last chance. She wiped the blood from her hands, set her shoulders, and looked at the beast. "We're in the control room." And this time, it followed her. The corridors leading to Central Command were slick with coolant and scorched from plasma fire. Motionless bodies, human and machine, lay in grotesque arrangements, half buried beneath collapsed beams and shattered ceiling panels. The only sounds were the software failing systems and the low, rhythmic breathing of a dying beast. The Leviathan followed Mia slowly now. Every step it took left streaks of glowing blue-black blood on the floor. Its chest heaved unevenly. Its tail dragged. But it moved, not with rage, not with instinct, with will. Beside it, Mia Tran, still just 19, still just a student, clutched a data drive filled with damning truth and the last functioning medkit. Her eyes were hollow with exhaustion, her hands shaking. But she had a mission now, not just to survive, to reveal everything. They reached the final security gate. It was still active. Thick blast doors reinforced with maglocks and guarded by 2 standing auto turrets. Mia turned to Leviathan. "Can you give me 30 seconds? It nodded, not with human articulation, but with a slow, deliberate motion that said, "Go." She sprinted down a side corridor and slid behind a shattered control panel. She linked her neural implant to the turret system. Her fingers danced across a cracked touchpad, sweat stinging her eyes. The turrets rotated, targeting her position. "Override code invalid. Access restricted. Violators will be terminated." She tried again. Then again. The turrets beeped. They locked on. She closed her eyes. A thunderclap sounded, followed by the grinding of metal on metal. The Leviathan had charged them. One turret shattered under its claws. The other fired wildly, ripping into the creature's flank. But it held its ground, teeth bared, tail lashing. Mia screamed, "Stop! He's not the threat." Too late. The beast tore through the second turret before collapsing to one knee. Mia ran to its side. "You didn't have to." The Leviathan pressed its head against her shoulder. She froze, then nodded. It had chosen this, and she wouldn't waste it. She bypassed the final firewall into Central Command using a trick from her university hacking sim. The Emergency Medical Override Protocol, which few knew could be piggybacked into admin control. The command deck opened with a hiss. Cool air rushed out. The lights here still worked. The screens glowed with operational displays. At the center of the room stood a chair, high-backed, elegant, military grade. And sitting in it, bruised but alive, Commander Arlen Voss. He rose slowly, wiping blood from his lip. "Hell of a creature," he said. "I thought it would kill you. It protected me." Voss looked tired. Older now, stripped of his authority. He looked less like a commander and more like what he truly was, a corporate asset with a gun. "You have no idea what they'll do if you release this data," he said, gesturing toward the drive. "Every power in the galaxy will want what we made." Mia stepped forward. "They didn't make it," she said. "They resurrected it, and they enslaved it. But it remembered something we didn't expect, compassion." Voss scoffed. "Compassion? It's a monster." "No," Mia said. "You are." Behind her, the Leviathan limped into the room, bleeding, burned, but standing. Voss reached for his sidearm. The Leviathan snarled. But Mia stepped between them. "No more," she said. "We end this." She turned to the console and inserted the data drive. Voss shouted, lunging forward. The Leviathan reacted instantly, slamming into him with one last burst of strength, knocking him across the room. The commander slumped unconscious or dead. The Leviathan collapsed. This time, it didn't rise. The screens came to life. Mia transmitted everything. The neural imprint files, the video logs, the illegal splicing experiments. She opened the archives to every off-world academic, every media network, every council ethics committee. The truth spread like wildfire, and when the transmission ended, she turned to the final control, self-destruct override. Her fingers hesitated over the console. T-minus 12 minutes. Mia Tran, said the Nexus AI in a calm, indifferent tone. Your clearance does not permit this action. I'm not asking permission, she said. She linked her neural implant directly into the core. Her vision blurred as the interface synced. Pain flared behind her eyes. She pushed through it. Memories surged through her. Hers and not hers. Flash images. A forest made of crystal trees. A moon split in half. A youngling cradled beneath leathery wings. The Leviathan's memories. Ancient, buried, broken. She reached into them, not to control, but to understand, and the AI responded. Failsafe canceled. Shutdown confirmed. The station sighed. Systems powered down. The Nexus lived. Epilogue. 3 days later, Mia sat in a recovery pod aboard a council rescue frigate. The press dubbed her the girl who tamed the beast. Politicians called her a whistleblower. Biologists called her a traitor. But she didn't care, because the Leviathan was alive, healed, sedated, en route to an unmarked conservation moon, where no governments could reach him, where he could roam, not as a weapon, but as the last of his kind. Before they parted, she'd visited his containment unit. He was calm, drowsy from regenerative stasis. But when she stepped forward, his eyes had opened. He looked at her, not as a test subject, not as prey, but as family,